Hi guys, now that Paris Climate Summit is over and all the leaders have gone back home, all the experts have done their thing, all the newspapers have come up with their headlines, what do we feel about it all? Well, here are the few basics that we already knew. The first thing is that the climate is getting warmer and that's bad for us. Number two, emission of greenhouse gases is the primary reason for this sudden warming trend. Number three, these greenhouse gases have accumulated because of mankind's activity. These are the three basics. Next, how did mankind manage to do this? Through industrialization, the age of industrialization, when we wanted to invent engines and machines and fast production of things, we learned to dig out fossil fuel out of the ground and burning it and putting it in the atmosphere. That's how. So in other words, more industrialized a nation is, more wealthy a nation is, more advanced a nation is, more it is responsible for having created this crisis. Now, which are the nations that are putting a lot of greenhouse gases today in the atmosphere? That is the nations that have maximum amount of industry, like USA and China and Western Europe and Canada and so on, and and also emerging nations who have large population and they are trying to climb up are the next ones in line. So the climate change movement, which is also being called as climate justice, is based on the fact that it's the industrialized nations who have caused this, who are the culprit in this ecological crime, and therefore should be responsible for paying a penalty of some kind to compensate the poorer nations who are also trying to join the bandwagon of wealth, but that would damage the earth even more. This is the basics of the issue. But there are some books that have elaborated it more clearly and without ambiguous terms. And I like one writer and research scholar, an activist. I don't know whether she's an activist or not, Naomi Klein of Canada. I've read quite a few of her books, but one of them, the most recent one published last year, called This Changes Everything, is about climate change. And she has nailed quite a few interesting topics that actually overlap each other to bring us to this crisis. And she identifies them. They're all interlinked. One of them is to do with globalization and free trade deals. These are the drivers for the kind of thing that's going on and accelerating accumulation of greenhouse gases and destruction of environment and global warming. So this globalization has to be pushed back, very briefly speaking. Next is the car culture and the lifestyle that is promoted by wealthy nations. This is what is absurd, and everybody is trying to copy the West and join the bandwagon and literally frying the planet. So this has to be pushed back. Then along with the trade deal comes industrial farming, industrial agriculture, with its patented seeds and genetically modified ones and industrial input and chemical and pesticides and all that. This is a singularly high contributor to greenhouse gas emission, and this has to be pushed back. That means confronting corporations such as, for instance, Monsanto or Cargill and so on, and somehow getting our nations to become democratic and look after the interest of the people, not interest of foreign corporations, and undo the trade deals that we have signed. Understand that globalization is shit. It's not development. It's shit. So we have to get away from it. And how to get away from it, I don't know. I don't think politicians care about what you think or I think, unless they are forced to. So how ultimately the buck stops at our feet. All the books you can read, you can watch all the TV shows, and you can talk as much as you like and post whatever you want on Facebook and Twitter. At the end of the day, what are we prepared to do? And it's no more a matter of single personal choice of what light bulbs we use or what car we drive. Like Leonardo DiCaprio said very clearly in United Nations earlier, that it's no more a matter of personal choice. Nations have to rise up, and we have to force the nations to rise up. Nations will not rise up otherwise. If we have sovereignty, as a Canadian, if we have a government that is democratic and promises to fulfill the wish of the people, then we, the people, have to find a way to get our government to do that. This is what I learned from all these talks. And by the way, if you like, you should read that book, This Changes Everything by Naomi Klein.